If you're a Robinhood investor, you want to stick around for this whole video because I'm going to tell you what the top 6 most popular ETFs are on the Robinhood app. Guys, if you're brand new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and drop a huge like. That helps out the channel a ton, and I appreciate that. Getting right into it here, let's start off with our number 6 most popular ETF on the Robinhood app, and that's the QQQ. So it's no secret that a lot of Robinhood's customer base is millennials, and what kind of stocks do millennials love? Tech stocks. And rightfully so, in my opinion. The QQQ has returned investors almost 100% in the past 5 years, and it gives you exposure to some of the most biggest tech companies out there like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and more. This ETF tracks the NASDAQ exchange minus any financial stocks. So how many investors are holding the QQQ? 13,950. So it's obviously no surprise, millennial investors love tech stocks. QQQ is a tech ETF. That's number 6. Now moving on down the list, number 5 is another tech related ETF, except this time we're focused more on artificial intelligence and robotics, and that's the ETF BOTZ, BOTZ. The biggest reason that investors love this ETF is because it gives investors exposure to NVDA, which is one of the hottest stocks when it comes to artificial intelligence, and is also one of the main components to this ETF, which is comprised of other stocks related to AI and robotics. And BOTZ ETF currently trades at under $20 per share versus NVIDIA's $150+ per share. So a lot of investors like yourself who maybe only have a few $100s to invest in the stock market may not be able to afford shares of NVIDIA directly. So a good way to get exposure to that obviously is to invest in an ETF like BOTZ. Now if you look at the performance of BOTZ in the last 5 years, it has returned investors just under 30%. Not that great when compared to the QQQ, but not too bad either. Keep in mind this is an ETF that's betting on the future, so those massive gains that you may be expecting with a futuristic stock like this may only be realized in the next 5 years or so. Now how many investors on Robinhood are invested in BOTZ? 16,932. So those two ETFs are fairly volatile when looking at ETFs in general. And the next ETF that we have is actually one of the more stable ETFs out there and one of the most popular ETFs, and that's VTI. This is a Vanguard ETF, and it pretty much covers the whole US stock market, which comprises of over 3,500 total stocks. VTI is also known as one of the ETF choices for an average investor who just wants to buy their investment, just forget about it until retirement, and then get some massive gains when that retirement does come around. The performance of VTI in the last 5 years has been pretty decent, coming in around 45%. Not too shabby, and it did actually beat out the BOTZ ETF that we just went over. So how many investors on Robinhood are invested in VTI? 23,546. So that's a substantial amount of investors that are invested in this ETF. But our top 3 that we're going to go through right now actually have a minimum of 30,000 investors invested in each of them. And I'll tell you right now, one of these actually surprised me. So number 3, which I did expect to see, is SPY, which tracks the S&P 500. SPY is actually a very popular ETF for traders, like day traders, swing traders, because it gives you options and allows you to play those options on the index. These are also very liquid options, so you're able to get in and out of your position without too much effort. But really when it comes down to it, all this ETF does is tracks the S&P 500, which is the 500 largest companies in America, and is also seen as one of those set and forget investments. The SPY has also returned investors just more than the VTI fund has, coming in at 48% in the last 5 years. But the biggest issue that I really have with this particular ETF is the management fees when comparing it to VTI. Now, the number of investors here that use Robinhood that invest in this ETF is significantly more than VTI, coming in at 32,749. So now we're down to our last 2, and you might be wondering what other ETF could be out there that is more popular than the SPY. Well, the question you gotta ask yourself is, what stocks do millennials love more than tech stocks? That's right, green stocks. So the ETF here that tracks this is MJ, and this ETF actually comprises of some of the most popular stocks in the sector like Kronos, Aurora, Canopy, and the official name for this ETF is the Alternative Harvest ETF, and has returned investors just under 40%. However, it's only been on the market since late 2015, so the sample size is a bit shorter than the other ETFs that we've covered here. Nonetheless, pretty good returns for exposure to a growing industry, but this may be topping the list for the most volatile ETF in the top 6 that we cover. Now, how many investors here are invested in this ETF on Robinhood? 35,862. Now, there's only one ETF which we did talk about on this channel before that tops this list and beats out all the other ETFs with the number of investors invested in it on Robinhood. And that is, of course, the Vanguard VOO. In my opinion, this is the best ETF for any investor who wants just a set and forget investment and just wants exposure to the best companies that they can invest in. Not only that, but this ETF is better than, say, the SPY, for example, because the management fee is much less on this one compared to SPY. So VOO has returned investors around 49% in the last 5 years, coming in as the second best return on this list, only behind the tech-heavy QQQ. Now, how many investors on Robinhood hold VOO? That's just under 41,000 here at 40,918 investors. So which of these top 6 do you hold in your Robinhood portfolio? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, check out my video here where I cover the best ETF you can invest in. Either way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one.